Anyways, the problem tonight is people all over are ill, and they say they want to get well, but do they really? Once again, there's people that are sick and ill all over, okay? And they always say that they want to get well, but do they really? Okay? So I'm going to start off with a passage tonight. It's in John chapter 5, okay? John chapter 5. If you're just tuning in for the very first time, we believe in the playbook. The playbook is the Bible, and we reference the Bible. We use the Bible as a playbook throughout this thing called life because we believe it has the answers, and it does. And if you apply these answers and promises to your life, you will get results and have victory in the areas that you struggle in. So John 5 says, sometime later, Jesus went up to Jerusalem for one of the Jewish festivals. Now there is in Jerusalem, near the sheep gate, a pool, which in the Arabic is called Bethesda, and which is surrounded by 5 covered colonnades. Here a great number of disabled people used to lie. The blind, the lame, the paralyzed. One who was there had been an invalid for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and learned that he had been in this condition for 38 years, a very long time, he asked him, "Do you want to get well? Do you want to get well?" And he responded to Jesus, "Sir," the invalid replied, "I have no one to help me in to the pool when the water is stirred. While I'm trying to get in, someone else goes ahead of me." Okay? So if this disabled, paralyzed, blind man can get to this pool, right, he would be healed. Okay? And in this chapter, it says that he has been in this condition for 38 years, okay? I'm 37 years old. So he's been there for 38 years, which is a long time. So after 38 years, don't you think he would have asked someone to bring him into the pool even though he couldn't move? He was able to talk because he was just talking to Jesus, but he sat there and said, I've been trying to get in the pool, but someone else keeps on going ahead of me, right? So, you see, his condition did not get better because he really wasn't fighting or showing that he wanted to get better. And that is why Jesus asked him, "Do you want to get well?" Because he's kind of looking at him and he's like, "Man, you've been in the same condition. You're not doing anything to improve your situation for 38 years, okay?" So I'm going to give you a little story, okay? And this story is about a guy that I met on my journey. And I'm going to say his name, but it's not his last name, because I haven't spoken to this guy in years. And maybe if he sees this, this will make an impact in his life or in his heart. But early on in 2011, I actually got told that I had Lyme disease by a doctor named Dr. David Bernstein, right? Lyme disease. And Lyme disease, if you look it up online, is something horrific, right? It's something like really horrible. And I had been searching to see what I had, and this doctor said he finally believed he knew what it was after doing all this testing and blood work and all this kind of garbage, right? So anyways, throughout my process of finding out that I had Lyme disease, I sat there and came across one of these like support groups, right? And it was like called Lyme disease something. And I ended up connecting with some lady, and then she ended up connecting me with this guy named Anthony who was in this group, okay? And this guy, when I talked to him the very first time, he was extremely, from his own, confession, he was extremely sick, he was extremely ill, and he couldn't, apparently do anything, right? Anything. So I really, started to slowly start to mature into my faith. I wasn't even close to where I'm at today. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to help this guy because I feel like I have a little bit more momentum than he does. So I stayed in contact with him throughout that first year of me going through what I was going through. Now, I was trying to do about everything that I possibly could to get better, but I was still putting my trust in the wrong resources, right? I wasn't putting in the source, I was putting the wrong resources. So this guy is over here, he has Lyme disease, he's telling me he has this symptom and this symptom and this symptom, and I'm dealing with symptoms. And every time I'm trying to talk to this guy, I started to I'm trying to pour into him and tell him about the rebounder and all these different things that I'm doing and everything that can help him. And he's eating it like a baby or a kid would eat candy. He's all over it. He's like, oh my goodness, I love you, Justin. Thank you so much. I'm going to get better, blah, 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 blah. And as soon as I would get off the phone with him, I would check back in with him in another week or two, and he was in the same place. 2 weeks later, check on him again, he's in the same place. 2 weeks later, check on him again, same place. Hey, Anthony, have you done anything? Have you tried anything that I've given you? Well, no, this and the other, I didn't try this. I started to try to point him in the direction of believing that he could get better. And he was more focused on the wrong things. He was focused in on what supplement or what doctor. Every time I was on the phone with him, he was looking for the next doctor to apparently give him the magic pill so he could feel better, but he wasn't actively doing anything himself. I mean, he was putting a little effort into the diet. He wasn't working out. I tried to challenge him to try to do 1 push-up a day, and he said he was going to do it. And anyways, this went on for a matter of years, right? So one day I got a little flustered, and I said, Anthony, I got to ask you a question. Do you really want to get well? And I didn't say that because this passage said it. I was just kind of wondering based off what kind of action he was taking after me pouring everything I had in me into him. Do you want to get well, Anthony? And I'll never forget what he said. I sat there and he goes, well, yeah, Justin, I do. And I said, well, why aren't you doing anything about it? And he started telling me about all these people are starting to come around him. And they were kind of supporting him in a way because he was hurting. But he kind of had a victim mentality, right? He didn't have an attitude of faith. He had an attitude of I like how this feels for people to feel bad for me, right? And I've been there before, but I didn't stay stuck in it for too long. But anyways, he finally admitted to me on that conversation that day that he enjoyed people giving him that attention and that comfort. And I said, so do you really want to get well? And he really couldn't answer me because he liked the position he was in. Now, how could that be? He was hurting so bad. So anyways, the problem is sometimes people are sick, sometimes people are stuck, but do they really want to get well? Are they willing to fight to do whatever it takes to get there? So let's get to the solution. We talked about the problem, gave you a little story, and tonight the solution is an acronym, God. G.O.D. That is the acronym, okay? We have to fight and walk in your healing to keep it, okay? This is mainly for believers tonight, because as believers, we need to fight and walk in our healing to keep it. Fight and walk in your healing to keep it. Keep that in your mind. Let's go to point number 1. The first letter is G for, the acronym God. Grip. G-R-I-P, grip. He was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought our peace was upon him, and by his wounds we are healed. We are healed. Because of the price he paid, we are healed. We don't have to wait for our healing. If you're going through a hard time right now, if you're sick, if you're hurting, and you're a believer and you know Christ, you should know that you already are healed. Okay? So we have to grip, kind of like a tight grip, on to our healing. We don't have to wait for healing. We are healed. And as we are waiting on the Lord for it to manifest, for the symptoms to go away, we must be obedient and believe we are healed. There's too many Christians out there right now. You know, if you're not saved and you hear this, you may be like, well, I don't get that. But if you're saved and you know the word, you should know that you're not waiting on your healing. You have your healing. And you're probably like, oh yeah, I've heard that before. You have your healing. You are healed. You can walk in it. Now, you may not walk the same way that you'd like to walk, like all chipper and happy and smiley. There's sometimes I get on these walk and talks and I tell you guys I'm still going through stuff. And I'm like, I'm not too chipper, but I know I'm going to show up because I'm going to be obedient and I'm going to continue to walk and remember that I have to grip onto that promise and remember I am healed. Okay? So no more waiting on God. God is waiting on us. He paid the price and we are healed. So if you're going through a sickness, right, and you're a believer, you are healed. Now, if you're not a believer, I would really encourage you to get to know this guy, Jesus, because there's a lot of promises in on the word that will apply to you that you can hold on to, so that you'll always have hope no matter what it looks like, okay? So we have to receive it. Number one, grip on to the healing that we already have. Number two is the O stands for ouch. The O stands for ouch. Lord, your discipline is good, for it leads to life and health. You restore my health and allow me to live. It says your discipline is good, like ouch, like it hurts, but that ouch leads to life and health because it starts transforming you and molding you and sculpting you. God didn't put sickness on you. He had to allow it for it to happen, but it's here not for harm. It's here to push us into our purpose, kind of like it is me. You restore my health and allow me to live. Listen to me. If you're going through a hard time and your body is systematic, you have to hold on even when you feel that ouch. God is using it to make you better. And in this time, He's getting you prepared for what's going to happen after the mark. And a lot of times I hear this in churches. Oh, well, I prayed for this person, but they just didn't get healed. Well, did they really grip on it? Did they receive it? Did they believe it? Did they take God at His word? Or did they have doubt? Because doubt comes from the devil. And if you grip onto that doubt, you're going to manifest what happens with that doubt. But if you grip on to that faith and you hold on to that belief of like, you know what, I am healed. I don't care what my body says, I am healed. Your pain, the ouch, will lead you to your purpose. I'm here doing these walk and talks because of my pain, because of my ouch. I started this a couple months ago crying to my brother, Like literally saying like, I'm ready to like throw it in the towel. I have nothing left to give. I fought. And he encouraged me to say, no, Justin, you need to get your story out there. Don't wait until everything manifests. Do it now. So I've been walking out these walk and talks every single solitary day. And I'm going to be honest, before I got on here tonight, I had a breakdown and I started crying. It was the first time I literally have cried since the last time I cried with my brother. And I was like, you know what? You just you're doing this and you're doing this and you're fighting for this and you're trying everything, you're dieting and this and that, you're helping people. And you're like, when is something going to give? Like completely. But you know what? A good friend of mine by the name of Pastor Lee Jailer, he picked me up. He encouraged me. We had a good talk and he's like, you know what, Justin? You're my brother. I love you. I got you. We're going to get there together. Nobody may know your pain, but you know what? I know someone that does. He does, the man upstairs. He knows your ouch. And you know what? Part of me was like, you know what? I don't want to do the walk and talk tonight. I'd like to sit there and just like wallow in my pain and just like, cry a little bit and be a little, sad. And I was like, you know what? I went over to Target. That's why I was a few minutes late, if you want to know the truth of it. I ran inside Target and I got some eye drops, which I don't even use eye drops. And I cleared off all the redness in my eyes because I'm going to sit there and I'm going to make sure when I'm marching forward and I'm doing God's work, I'm going to give it my best. So every tear, every hurt, every pain, every anguish, every discomfort, every insecurity, it is good because it will lead you to life and health. You will live again. I will live again. You will live again. Hold on, grip it, and embrace the ouch. Last point, delivered. The D stands for delivered. The acronym is God. Grip, ouch, delivered. He sent out his word and he healed them and delivered them from their destruction. Psalms 107:20. Now back to the man at the pool. The man at the pool in the very beginning when we were talking about the problem. He's crying out, oh God, can you do something? I've been trying for 38 years, just laying here. And God says, well, do you want to get well? He says, well, if you want to get well, then Jesus said, get up, pick up your mat and walk. Get up, pick up your mat and walk. If you are sick right now or if you are hurting, get up, pick up your mat and walk. At once, the man took action, he had faith, and he was cured. He picked up his mat and walked. He'd been laying there for 38 years. Obviously not being too obedient because he sat there and wallowed in his pain. And he was complaining, oh, well, everybody else is going to the pool except me. Everybody else is getting their healing. Everybody else is getting their breakthrough. Everybody else is getting the promotion. Everybody else is getting married but me. But you know what? God didn't give up on him. He gave him a chance. He knew that he blew it. But he said, he's like, you know what? You didn't show much faith, but I'm going to give you a chance. Are you going to get up? And are you going to walk? And when are you going to start doing it? Are you going to do it now or are you going to wait another 38 years? So I don't know what you're going through, right? I don't know what you're hurt or what you're going through as far as your health, your situation at home, your job. But tonight, we have to fight. And we have to get up, pick up our mat, and walk. Get up, pick up our mat, and walk. We have gripped our healing. We know that the ouch is good because it's going to lead and restore us to life and health. And then remember, the D is we are delivered from destruction. The reason why you are hurting right now, the reason why you're in the position that you're in is because God didn't want to leave you where you were at before this. He wanted to catapult you to a whole new level. He loves you too much to leave you to where you were before. And you're probably like, you know what? I wasn't in a bad place before. You can't see how he can see. You can't see through his eyes. Now looking back at where I was and looking back at who I am today, on the outside it may look a little bit the same. The face, the body, this and the other, but on the inside, everything has changed. Everything. Jesus spoke a word and told him to act, and he acted, he was delivered. Stop saying you're waiting on the Lord if you're doing nothing, or if you're just doing like the bare minimum. Now, if you're fighting like crazy and you're waiting on the Lord, that's a different story. But you already have your healing. That's why tonight the message is called healed. You are healed. Even if you're like completely healthy, you are healed. If something ever happens, you just got to remember, I am healed. My situation, my health issue escalated because in the very beginning, because I doubted and I didn't know the word. So I didn't know that I was healed already, and I just sat there and literally started like, oh my goodness, I have this and this and this and this, and I have Lyme disease, and oh my God, this and this and this, and this doctor's saying this, and it was confusing, and guess what happened? It got worse because I didn't grip onto like who I was in Christ. And I didn't know that the ouch was to sit there and bring me to my purpose. And I didn't know that the D meant I was delivered from my destruction. So do not be the man at the pool and sit back thinking it's going to change someday when you're not doing anything. Remember to apply the GOD acronym. Grip, ouch, delivered. Now here's some good news, okay? I have been healed in the past from many different things. I've actually been pretty ill throughout my life, like even when I was a kid. Not nothing major, but I had serious anxiety, serious panic attacks, running to the ER all the time, and I was delivered, gone, healed. Goodbye, don't have those anymore. I had depression for a long time, healed. Panic attacks, like I said, hives. I had hives when I was a kid. I was in elementary school, middle school. The worst hives you could ever think of. Like triple, quadruple layer hives. It was just so painful, so miserable. And I'm healed from that, right? Bad back problems. And at the age of 18, I would play flag football. And I literally, you could ask one of my ex-girlfriends, I could barely bend down a little bit. I'm out here playing, football, but as soon as that game was over, I couldn't move, and this lasted for years, and I thought it was never going to get better. But guess what? I'm healed. Lyme disease. I just got blood tested a couple months ago. Okay, this is after me going through something for 7 years. The doctor said, hey, Justin, I tested you for Lyme disease. Guess what? I got good news. You're healed. There is no Lyme disease in your body anymore. The bacteria is not testing positive. You are healed. Different psychological, mental issues. I don't think the way I used to. I am healed. I had vertigo. Bad vertigo. Very bad vertigo. Guess what? It's gone. I am healed. I had insomnia. Couldn't sleep for months and months and months and months and months and months and months. I am healed. I sleep great now. Shattered collarbone. I am healed. It's healed. I had multiple torn muscles. It's healed. And there's a list of other things. But these are things that like physically have already manifested to where I've received the physical healing, right? But now we're going to learn more about what I'm going through now. I'm going through a lot more challenging stuff today than I've ever experienced in my entire life. And my brother will contest to that. People that are around me know that. And there's not many people around me in my circle right now. But you know what? I am healed. I don't walk around with a sour face on my, face. I'm like, oh man, it's so bad. Woe is me. I'm so horrible. Life sucks, blah, blah, blah. Because those who complain will remain, right? And I'm going through it. So if you want to pray for your brother in Christ, it started this walk and talk. I'm going through it. But you know what? Don't pray as if like, okay, Justin, pray for his healing. Pray that, you know what, God, he's already healed. Let him walk out on his healing. He is walking out and, he's walking, he's claiming, he's believing he is healed because you know what? He's done it for me once before in the past. He's going to do it again. 100,000 infinity% confidence. And what he's done for me, he's going to do for you. God is no respecter of person. I started these walk and talks to bring encouragement and hope to the hurting. Which I'm not going to get into this too much, but we started this new 7L vision. But you know what? We're going to wipe the slate with that. And we're going to go back to the original reason why we started these walk and talks, which is to bring encouragement and hope and healing to people that are hurting, because there's too many people hurting. I was at a miracle service the other day at my church, and they said, how many of you guys need a healing in your body? And 95% of the people raised their hand. Well, I had mentioned that I've been healed from multiple things, okay? When I left Tennessee, I mentioned the other night that I sat there and was like completely suddenly healed, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, and this is when I didn't have my faith in God. I had my faith in the supplements. I got back to Fort Lauderdale, I was suddenly healed, okay? But I want to sit there and say one more thing, and I want you to kind of meditate on this. If you've been healed, which you are healed, but if you're looking for the manifestation of it, I want you to hold on to this. This is something I had to learn the hard way. Later, Jesus found him at the temple and said to him, see, you are well again. Stop sinning or something worse may happen to you. Stop sinning or something worse may happen to you. If you guys listen to the timeline of what I just sat there and said, I said I went through something. There's some pretty bad things in the past in my health. And then I told you right now, things have been worse than they ever were before as far as like physical things, right? God said it in John 5:14. I never knew that. Something worse may happen to you. So if you've just been healed, or if you are believing for your healing, make sure when you're walking it out and the physical pain is away, don't go back to your vomit. I went back to my vomit like I told you guys. Suddenly I was healed, and then I was back to Jay, back to partying, back to doing all these things that were foolish. And it didn't feel the same way. Like when I was back in it, I didn't have that same high as before because God was already working on me. But he loved me too much to leave me where I was. I was always a problem solver. I was always a Mr. Fix-It. So he had to do something that I couldn't fix. And I've tried to put my trust in supplements, different diets, working out, all these different things, doctors, natural doctors, acupuncture, Chinese herbal medicine, everything. And that's why I was trying to tell you, it doesn't work. It helps, but you have to put your hope in the source, not the resource. Guys, you may be going through something hard right now. I don't know what you're going through. Like Lee just told me, he doesn't know exactly what I'm going through. But we have to remember our past victories, okay? Our past victories, even like quick wins that we had back then. Because they're going to give us the hope and the faith and the belief that, you know what? God is still on the throne. What he did before, he's going to do again. And he's going to do it for you. I will not tell my God how big my problem is. I will tell my problem how big my God is. Don't put your trust in doctors, supplements, diets, resources, Google. Been there, done that. If you want to learn more about that, tune in next week. Next week, we're going to be talking about health all week long. The solution for your healing is God. Grip, ouch, delivered. God never changes. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. If he did it once, guess what? He will, what? What will he do? He'll do it again.